Now stay. Have a seat down on your mat and get nice and comfortable. Notice how you're feeling today. Maybe close your eyes and let the breath be your guide, kind of letting you know if you're a little bit anxious or a little bit sleepy. What is the breath telling you? Okay. And when you're ready, we'll do one more thing. We'll set an intention today that with that breath, you will nurture and nourish yourself in every posture that we do. Okay, so let's start with our necks. So drop your chin down to your chest and then bring your left ear towards your right shoulder. Feel that stretch. Maybe taking the opposite arm down and away. And then take your nose and direct it towards the same side knee. You might feel a little bit more of a stretch. And then bring your nose towards me again. And bring your head back up, nice and gently, centered. And then drop your head down again towards your chest. And then do the opposite side. And always notice what's going on. One side's a little tighter than the other. And then take your nose and draw it down towards the knee. Letting your breath be nice and smooth. And then come on back up. Okay, so let's start rolling our shoulders up, back, down, and around. Doesn't matter really which way you go, just as long as you start moving the shoulder blades. And then moving them around in the other direction. You might feel your ears kind of open up. All right. And then let's bring our arms way up. And then bring one hand down to the floor, arch over. And then we're going to move side to side and then bring the arm up and gently move over to the other side, just starting to get warmed up. And then come on back up and over to the other side. And then come on back up and over again. And then come on back up. And then take what is your left hand to your right knee and twist around. And keeping that back hand right closer towards your sit bones so that you can sit up. And then come on back around to center and lift the other arm up. Bring it around to the opposite knee. Again, take the hand closer, the back hand, closer towards your back. You might be able to elongate your spine a little bit more. And then come around and pause. And then clasp your hands behind your back and maybe open up. Really open up that chest. Make sure there's a slight bend in your elbow. All right, let's come around to tabletop. So starting with a couple of cat-cows. So round your back up and drop your belly down. And then round your back up and drop your belly down. Okay, and then come back to a neutral spine. And then maybe let's start moving a little bit more. So shift over towards your right. Your hip is going out towards the right. And then go back towards your heels and circle around to the left and come forward. So you're moving your hips and your upper body around doing little baby cat cows, cow as you come up, cat as you go around, just getting a little bit warmed up in that whole trunk session, and then go around to the other side. And you might notice there might be a little bit of crick crack going on with some openings, which is all good. All right, and then come on back to tabletop. And we're going to try something that for me is very intense. For a lot of you, it may not be. Curl your back toes under, okay? And then if you can, sit up onto your heels. This might be a little intense, but it's opening up the backs of your, the sole of your foot. I guess that is the back of your foot. And then while you're up here, maybe you'll rotate your wrist around one way, just moving the wrist around, and then rotating around the other way while you're opening up. If you need to come out of this at any time, that's all right. This is pretty intense. And then bring your hands down and let's come into our downward facing dog. And breathe. Taking a nice big inhale and exhale. So your knees are definitely bent because we're not quite warmed up a little bit. It's just kind of moving one knee and then the other. Just kind of pedaling out, getting a little bit more into the calves. We stretch the feet, so let's get the calves going. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. Come into a nice forward fold. Just hang out there for a minute. Again, your knees may be bent so that you can keep your hands down towards the floor and just let your head drop down. Taking a nice big inhale and exhale. And then let's slowly bring our hands up to our knees and inhale halfway up. So nice flat back. Exhale down and then walk your hands forward into downward facing dog. However forward you want to be. And just breathe. All right, bring the right foot between your hands. So if you need to come down to your knees and walk your foot through, that's fine too. Or you can just step your right foot between your hands and position it. Drop the left knee down. Bring the top of the left foot down. So the right ankle is over the right knee is over the right ankle. Did I get that right? Right? And then inhale your arms up, feeling a nice stretch all along that left quadricep. And then bring your hands down by your front foot and then move the right hip back so that you get a little bit of a hamstring stretch. And then let's just move back and forth. So come forward. Don't jet that right knee back, but feel that stretch in that left quadricep and then moving back. So just starting to get the back of the leg going a little bit and forward and back. And then one more time, just hold it. And then bring your hands down. Step the right foot back and let's curl our toes under and come into downward facing dog. And breathe. Okay, so now we're going to bring our left foot between our hands, coming into that high lunge and then dropping our right knee down, coming into the low lunge, and then come on up and just feel the steadiness of the left foot really grounded down. And then bring your hands back down and then we'll go through that little tiny flow. So sit back into that hamstring stretch just for a moment, just so you're kind of communicating to the backs of your leg. And then move it forward, just nice and gently, back and forth. however it works for you. If your hands are not reaching the floor, you can use blocks underneath your hands and kind of walk back and forth. That's another option. And then come on forward and then step the left foot back, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. And breathe. Whew, nice big inhale and exhale, pressing your index and your thumbs into the earth. Okay, so we're going to bring our right foot between our hands again. All right, so if you need to come down to tabletop to do that, that's okay. All right, and then come on down to it. We'll start in a low lunge, just so you can feel nice and rooted into that right foot. And then curl the back toe under. And again, you can use blocks for this, okay? Curl the back toe under, coming into a runner's lunge. All right, so feel the steadiness because we're going to come up into a high lunge. So you really, I have to admit, high lunge can be a bit of a tricky pose when it comes to balance. So climb up that right knee, okay? And then reach your hands up. And we're going to try something a little bit interesting here. So let's warm up that front leg. So lengthen it and maybe bring your arms into cactus and then bring it down and then bring your shoulder blades down and then inhale up. So really feeling how stable that right foot is. Okay. And then come on back up. Come on back up to a high lunge. Maybe bring your hands to your hips. If you want to, you're going to step that left foot into a tree pose. Or, so step up and bring the left sole of the foot to your calf or way up. If you needed to step that foot up and then go into tree pose, that's fine too. So let me just show you this way. It's a nice little extra give when it comes to balance. Step up, hold your balance, come into tree pose. Okay? So find your tree pose and hold it there. And then bring your hands down to your hips, step your feet down, and then we're going to sit back into chair. So sit on back to chair. Hold it there. Fold your hands forward. Take a nice big inhale and exhale. We're going to step back into plank or tabletop, whatever you feel like doing today, what works for you. And then if you're in plank or even in tabletop, kind of move your hips side to side. Just moving your hips like you have a tail. We're just getting a little bit, getting the arms working, getting the center of our body working, kind of windshield wipering our toes. All right. And then bring your knees down, lower yourself all the way down to your belly. Bring the back of your hands down by your sides, and we're going to lift up into locust. So you can just lift your chest up. You don't have to lift your legs up. Whatever, again, is working for you. And then fold back down, and then come on back to downward facing dog. And breathe. Nice big inhale. And exhale. Okay, we're going to get that left foot between our hands. And again, do it the way that works for you, that you're not going to get injured. Okay? So in a nice lunge, let's start with the low lunge. So you can really, you know what's coming here. So really start by rooting that left foot into the earth. Then come into the high lunge. Slowly come on up to that was runner's lunge. Now we're up into high lunge. Reach your arms up and let's get dynamic a little bit. So lengthen the front knee, not hyperextend. Bend it. Inhale. Exhale. Can you notice that you're getting a little bit more solid on that left leg? Inhale. Exhale. Now hold it. Okay, so here's the tricky part, all right? So if you need to walk that foot up, the right foot up, dot, 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 and then come into tree, or maybe you want to experiment a little bit, go back and forth. This is my little bit of the side I've been really working on. So you come up into your tree, and I have to grab onto a wall today, which is okay with me, you know? And breathe in your tree pose. And then come on down, bring your foot back down, and sit back and hold your chair wherever you are. Feel like you're squeezing a block. And even if you want to put a block between your legs, it kind of helps keep gets the inner thighs really, really working. And then fold all the way back down. And then we're going to step back into downward facing dog. And we're going to go through that again. It's kind of a fun little vinyasa, isn't it? All right. All right, so let's bring that right foot between our hands. You can drop the left knee down so that you get that right knee all lined up. Come on up into a runner's lunge. And then when you're ready, come on up into a high lunge. I kind of noticed that on my other side, my legs were a little bit too wide, so I wasn't able to come up to tree. Maybe you want to adjust there. Okay, bring your hands to your hips. Step the left foot up. No, didn't quite do it. Left foot comes up to the calf or inner calf into your tree pose. Yep, lots of fun balancing. Okay, bring the left foot down. Sit back in the chair. Remember that squeeze. Exhale your hands down. Step back. Let's come into that plank for just a moment, shall we? So plank, knee plank, whatever you want. And move the hips around like you're wagging a tail. Just wagging back and forth. Kind of working the obliques a little bit. And then drop the knees down. Lower yourself all the way down. Tops of the hands to your sides. Lift up into cobra if you want. Now you can just lift your legs up. You can just lift your chest up. But if you have your arms up towards the sky, feel the shoulder blades coming together and going down your back. All right, come on back down, and I'll meet you in downward facing dog. And breathe. Nice big inhale. And exhale. All right, left foot comes between the hand. Drop the right knee down so that you can get that left foot nice and solid into the earth. And then come up into that high lunge or starting runner's lunge. I'm getting ahead of myself here. And then come on up. Again, position yourself where you know you're solid. Okay? Reach your arms up. Okay, now bring your hands to your hips and you're going to step that right foot up to a tree pose. Stare at something on the floor. And just hold it there. Okay, bring your foot back down. Sit back into chair. Hold it there. So you're kind of like pushing. If you had your hands on the outside of your knees, you're pushing out towards your hands. And if you had your hands on your inside of your knees, you'd be pushing in. And then fold all the way forward. And then step back. Come on down to child's pose. And take a breather. We got another fun one coming up. So if you need a drink of water or anything like that, all good. Okay. So come on up onto your knees. You can stay back on your knees. You can sit down. You can curl your toes under. We're going to just do a real quick eagle arm. So bring your arms up into cactus. Bring your left arm forward, right arm on top, And if you can, wrap your forearms around. If that doesn't work, just hug yourself, okay? Take a nice big inhale and exhale. And maybe twist to the right just a little bit. And then come on back and fly out. Okay, we're just going to switch sides. So opposite arm on top, bring it around. Hold the stretch, lift your elbows up a little bit. And then maybe move over to the other side, just doing a little twist. Come on back around. And then come on back to downward facing dog. Okay. Taking a nice big inhale. And exhale. Now walk your feet behind your hands. Come into a forward fold. Okay, make sure your knees are slightly bent. And then inhale halfway up. So bring your hands to your knees. So you have your hinging at the hips. You may even want to touch your hips. And then exhale down. And then stand all the way up. Reach your arms up. Bring your hands into prayer. Come all the way through. And pause. Okay, this is a fun one too. So we're going to do Warrior 3 to Eagle. It's kind of like, this is like the kind of the fun balance pose. So if you want to have any kind of blocks nearby, that's all right. So come up on your toes, back on your heels so that you feel nice and solid again. Really grounded into the earth. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, so you're hinging at the hips, not at the waist, right? Come on down. Maybe grab your blocks. And we're going to start with the right foot coming back. So you can just start with lifting the right leg up and down. Okay. And maybe you'll get it to parallel. And maybe you'll be able to come into like a prayer namaste hand pose. And just get nice and grounded on that left leg. And just breathe into it. Yep. All right. So you're going to stand all the way up. All right. And then take the right leg around. So I like to widen my feet out a little bit. And we're going to come down to a squat. And if this is too much on your knees, please don't do it. But just hold the squat. Just kind of opening up the hip flexors. I personally cannot bring my heels down unless I widen my legs out a little bit more. And then the only reason is because I wasn't built that way. And that may be the same for you too. Then bring your hands down. Let's come into a forward fold. Okay. Bring your hands halfway up your knees. Inhale halfway up. Exhale down. Bend your knees slightly. Stand all the way up. Reaching up, hands into prayer. Come all the way through. Pause. Excellent. Okay, we got the other side now. Okay. So inhale your arms up. Exhale, fly down. Okay. So we're going to come up on Warrior 3 using the, now this is the right leg. So do what works for you. Maybe you have a chair in front of you that you're holding on to. But remember to stare at something on the floor that's not moving. Maybe bring your hands into namaste if that works for you. And just hold that leg there. And remember, you're nourishing. You're nourishing through your breath. Okay, you ready to come up into eagle? So bringing that left leg up. So bending that right knee, taking that left leg, wrapping it around the other side and coming down into it a little bit. Okay, getting a nice hip opener, maybe pressing your hands a little bit together. Sometimes that helps with the balancing. And then slowly come on out of it. Okay, pause. And then if you want to, you can come down into a squat. And again, this may not be in your practice today. See if you can keep your back elongated. All right. And I have no beautiful way of coming down to my sit bones. Some people can do it nice and gingerly. I have to use my hands to come down. So whatever works for you. Okay. So now we're down into with our feet on the floor and our sit bones. Bring your hands back behind you and maybe windshield wiper your knees side to side. Just kind of opening up a little bit. That was a pretty intense vinyasa flow, but pretty fun. All right, so now we're going to come into boat. So bring your hands maybe behind your knees, or you can keep your hands behind you like this. Lift your legs up, okay? Maybe grab behind your legs when you're up here, but keep that back long. Don't do the rounding thing. And if you need to keep your feet down, that's all right too. You're going to work up to it. Okay, maybe bring your arms out. I find that when I'm in this pose, and I wish I could hear from you, I'm working at my chest. Yeah, my abs are working and definitely my quadriceps, but I feel it in my chest. Just hold it there. Keep breathing. And then bring your hands back down, soles of the feet to the earth. Hug your knees. Just sit up again. Bring your hands behind you. Maybe windshield wiper a little bit because we're going to do it again. Okay. Come on up. Sitting up, leaning back, whatever you need to do to come up into boat, okay? And if your lower back starts bothering you, come out of it and just hold yourself up there. We want to have a nice, strong core, don't we? And keep breathing. Feels good. It's nourishing, right? And then bring the soles of the feet down. Hug your knees. Okay, we're going to try a little bit of a different twist. So this is your left foot around, bring it through. I believe that's your right foot, okay? Take that right ankle and put it on top of where the sole of your foot is, where your arch is, and then bring it on top. Now, your right hip bone is definitely off the floor. This might be enough. You might feel a lot of stretch going on here. I find that this works the QLs, which are the muscles that kind of come down from their lower vertebrae down to your pelvis. And then move over to your left side, if this works for you, okay? Just feeling a good twist. If you want to, you can even walk down to your elbows. You might feel a little bit more. It's completely up to you. Just letting it all loosen up there. And then slowly come on back up. Okay, we're just going to switch sides. So maybe lean back. And so this time, the left ankle foot is in your arch. Okay. I believe they call this mermaid pose, which kind of, if you had a tail there, it might look good. And you could totally start by sitting up and notice where the stretches are. Notice where you're feeling it. It's an interesting pose that can get into a little bit deeper areas and around your lower abdomen and hips and whatnot. And maybe turn a little bit more. You do not have to come all the way down. This is completely optional. All right. And just hold it there. Just let it open. And then slowly walk yourself all the way back up. Okay, bring your feet back around. Okay, we'll come into like a reverse tabletop. So your hands will kind of come to the side. I like having my fingertips away. Sometimes I like to have them towards my sit bone. this might be enough, okay? And then lift your sit bones up, okay? Whatever way. So you're getting a good stretch, obviously, on your forearms. And then for some of you, you may want to lengthen out. So it's kind of like a reverse plank. And then come on back down. All right. And speaking of which, since we have time, let's come around into whatever plank or tabletop, knee tabletop that works for you. So make sure that you're not having your sit bones up in the air unless this is just where you're at, okay? You want to work on getting a little bit flatter like you're doing a sit-up, whether it's a knee sit-up or a plank, okay? So hold the plank, come into whatever plank works for you. Okay, maybe take that left hand a little bit down in front of your face. If it's in your repertoire, move your heels over towards the left, okay? Maybe you'll bring that right foot in front of you because this is what you need. Whatever works for you is fine. You can stack your hands and you can come up into a side plank. And just hold it up there, working the whole sides of our bodies that we need to. And then slowly come on back around, swivel around. So now your pelvis is parallel to the mat, other side. So the right hand comes around, swivel around, maybe bring the left foot in front, maybe stack your hips. Very important to keep our side bodies nice and strong. Keeping that left shoulder blade up towards the sky. And then come on back around. Hold the plank for just a minute. Yep, working that core, right? Come on down to tabletop. And then sit on back to child's pose. And breathe, taking a nice big inhale. Exhale. You can walk your hands over to the right and just sit back on to your left sit bone. And then walk your hands over to the left, just getting a good stretch. We did work those arms a bit. All right, come on back up. And come on around again, not doing a really nice job of coming around to the sit bones. But again, coming back into that prep for boat, which we're not doing boat, but this time we'll lower ourselves all the way down. And we've worked our core, come all the way down to your back. All right, soles of the feet are on the floor. Take your right foot on top of the left knee. Okay, you can start with just having that right knee kind of going out towards the right of your mat. Maybe take your hand and bring it down to where your leg connects with your upper body. And you can feel, maybe press down just gently and you'll feel a little bit more of a stretch there. And if you want to, you can lift the left leg up, bring your right hand through your legs and clasp your hands on the back of the left thigh. And enjoy that right hip opening up. It did a lot of work by doing eagle today, so we want to give it a little bit of a stretcher now. And again, let the breath nourish it. And maybe bring that left leg up to the sky. You can rotate your ankle around one way. Yep, it did a lot of work today too, huh? And then rotate it around the other way. And then bring the left leg down. Just gently uncross your legs and just pause. Pause for a moment and notice what's going on with that right hip versus the left hip. Any different feeling? Okay, take the left leg on top of the right knee. You can take your hand again and bring it right where that crease is. Maybe feel a little bit of opening. And then when you're ready, you can lift the right leg up, bring the left hand through your legs, clasp your hands on the back of the right thigh. And again, just feel what's going on in that hip. Sometimes when you inhale and then exhale, you might be able to get the stretch just a little bit more. And then when you're ready, bring the right foot up. You can rotate that ankle around one way, rotate it around the other. And then bring it down, uncross your legs, and just pause for a moment. Notice how now the left hip feels. Did it kind of catch up with the right hip? Is not catch up, but you know what I mean. Is there any kind of sensation? I do not know what's going on inside your body. You have to define it yourself. Okay, so root your feet into the earth. Slowly lift your pelvis up to the sky. You can grab the sides of your mat, or you can robot your arms. Start bringing your shoulder blades down your back a little bit. Come on up. If you've been working at this, you can clasp your hands underneath your sit bones. And again, remember how we were doing chair and we had the block between our legs? We'll have that same kind of sensation going on. But there's a little caveat here. Soften your sit bones so that you're not using so much the lower back, but using the inner thighs to lift you up. And then slowly come on all the way back down. Okay, bring your knees into your chest. And you can just rock side to side. And if you want to, we can come into happy baby. So bring the soles of your feet up towards the sky. And you can grab the back of your legs, you can grab your calves, you can grab your ankles, the outside of your ankles, or grab the outside of your feet. And just feel that nice opener. And again, you can rock side to side. Just letting it all open up. Relax your shoulders down. And then when you're ready, straighten your legs out. If you need to do any more twist or need to adjust your body in any way, maybe roll your head side to side before we go into Shavasana. And when you're ready, take a nice big inhale and maybe exhale out of your mouth, just letting it all go. And then if you can, gently try and focus on how natural your breath works within your body. And with your eyes closed, see if you can use that word relax to generate, maybe generate's not the right word, but soften all your bones, your muscles, your skin, your organs, your brain, your shoulders. Let everything just relax. When you're ready, you can start moving your fingers and toes. You can certainly stay in Shavasana for the rest of the day or for at least 10 minutes. Start moving the fingers and toes. And then when you're ready, roll over onto your right side and just stay there for a moment. Just relax. And again, that word relax, calm, soften. And when you're ready, come on up to a seated position, just like we started. And take a nice big inhale and exhale and let that be the nourishment that goes through all your body. Maybe join me into hands in prayer. And inhale compassion to yourself. And exhale compassion to the world. Thanks for joining me. Namaste. Thank you, Douglas Library. It's been real fun working with you and doing yoga. I hope to do it with you again soon.